Hi guys, welcome back to the studio. I am currently, this is, I had that workshop that I taught, that slice of life workshop. And the first day we did experimental watercolor. So every day we started a new painting. And the first day, like I said, we did the experimental watercolor, and in that workshop, I went through a lot of techniques, a lot of ways to use watercolor in a non-traditional way. Most of what I do when I paint this way experimentally, it a lot of times it's abstract, and I had chosen some rice papers to lay down for added texture. So I picked this one in here, it's up here, and then I put some running through here. And I chose another rice paper to put down. This is one of my favorites because I absolutely love polka dots, circles, squares, and checks. And if you've ever seen any of my abstract work, in most of it, there are polka dots, circles, squares, and checks. That's kind of right now my universal shapes that I use and repeat. And I've been trying to think of where to go with this since day one of this, and it hasn't gone any farther than this since then. Because, like I said, I didn't know where I wanted to take it, and but what I decided to do, I, I I was thinking about it a lot last night, and I also knew that I had to introduce another color, and I chose that, and that other color is going to be a violet. Okay, I'm going to use a violet in that. Um, Variations of. I love purples and greens together, and then the introduction of pink, which is a variation on red, which is the complementary of the green. So um, that's kind of where I'm going with this as far as colors. I will be doing variations thereof, and as you can see, there's a lot of yellow green in this, which I'll probably use, and then I'm going to do variations on green. I'm going to put some greens in here that have a little more blue. But anyway, what I wanted to show you was I was trying to think about what to do with it, and I was reading a book on abstract. You can hear my dogs in the background. I was like I said, I was looking through a book on abstract composition and mixed media, and I saw an artist. She had a piece. Now I'm not doing the exact same thing at all because I always make it my own, but she added a drawing element in her work, and I really liked that idea. So what I decided to do was I have a drawing here, and I'm going to try and show it to you with a white surface underneath so it'll show up better, because I don't know if it'll show up. But actually, I'll just show you the drawing. I'll just show you the drawing. Okay, so that is the drawing right there, okay? So what I'm going to do is I took my drawing from here and I transferred it onto parchment paper. And then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to transfer this onto that. And when I was trying to determine the placement, I figured it would be best placed right here over that circle, and then line up there. And so that is what I am going to do. And I just have to make sure when I draw it that since this is a horizon line here, that I've got to make sure that it's a level horizon line. And I also wanted to make sure by placing these two napkins, I'll show you what I did just so I could clarify the placement of this image in here. I had to take these napkins and kind of pretend as though there was a mat going over that so that I could get a better idea by knocking off the rest of that about where this was going to fall. And I liked it. So that is what I'm going to do. I am going to take this drawing and I am going to transfer it now onto this. So what I did was after I traced my drawing onto the parchment, I turned it over and then I used the counterpart. This is a graphite pencil. It's just solid graphite. There's no wood at all. So I just took this and just, covered it all up. And then I took a soft tissue and just rubbed it so that I could spread that graphite evenly over the back of this parchment. And that is what I did. So now when I go over this and I trace this onto my design, I'll have a nice clean graphite drawing of the girl. So that's what I'm going to do there. So I'm going to go ahead and trace this back onto this image, and when I'm done, I'll come back. So I'm going to do that. I don't want to bore you watching me trace. That's super boring. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back. Okay? Thanks. Okay, so I transferred the drawing, as you can see, onto the watercolor paper, pre-painted, as you can see as well. What I forgot about when I placed it was this big circle right there that's covering up a lot of her neck and her chest. So this is done with a gelato pencil, or gelato, not a pencil. It's a gelato. It's by Faber-Castell. I love using them in my mixed media work, and it's water soluble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an attempt to lift that out in there, or lighten it quite a bit. And I'm not sure whether I'm going to outline with a waterproof ink, like an ink pen, or whether I'm going to use watercolor pencil. I still haven't figured that out yet. But I do know in certain areas I'm going to lift a little bit, maybe. Just a couple strokes to keep the grass, the windy grass. It's like she's standing like in a wheat field. And so I'm going to lift a little bit of that out just to keep it, just a lighter color. But that's what I've got so far. And I'm going to just quick see what happens if I go in and I have lightened gelatos before, but I've never actually totally lifted it out totally, so I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to see if I can lighten this. Well, that's pretty dark. Let's see what I can do here. No, let's see. It is coming off Excuse me. I know that when I have used this on other things, I have actually used baby wipes to get gelato off, but I don't really want to use the baby wipe on the watercolor paper because I don't really know totally what would happen. But I am gently scrubbing that. Not even called scrubbing, I guess. It's just, let's see. Maybe I should let that sit on there a little bit longer. How about I just do this and let it sit wet? I can do that and then go back and try again. I don't care if it's still there, but I just don't want it to be so dark because I don't want it to take away from her neck. So I'm going to see what happens. Before I proceed, I want to see what I can get with this. See if I can loosen this up at all. Yeah, this stuff is like, it's not waxy. It's more like creamy. It's a creamier texture. Almost like Caran d'Ache, only softer, if that makes any sense. If any of you have used Caran d'Ache before, the water-soluble, they're the aqua, it's coming. I'm getting it a little bit, and I'm glad about that, because I am going to take a little stiffer brush and see what I can do with that. This is a little bit too soft. It's a great brush, but it doesn't give me a lot of liftability. So let's see what I got. I don't really want to use a scrubber, but let's see if I can find a small scrubber in my mess here. Let me put this away. I got all these brushes over here. And I do have this size scrubber, but I want a smaller one. So let's see. I need to get some more of those for sure. How about, let's see. Oh, I don't want that one. That's too little. All right, well, I'm going to go with this one. This is from Cheap Joe's. I'm going to try this one. My dogs are wrestling in there. So I'm just going to gently do that. Let's see what happens there. See if that's... Alright, so I'm going to add a little bit more water. I want to lighten it even more so. And I see that I'm also lifting up my drawing. I'll have to go back, refer to it, and see what I've lost. Let's just put more water on there with the brush. I went back to the brush so I could add more water. Yep. Okay, and I'm going to let that sit for a minute. Yep. Yep. And I want to clean this. Alright, let's see. I'm going to use the big one. It has longer bristles, which might make it softer to lift that. If I disturb the paper too much, then I am going to not be able to put paint down like I want. So I have to be careful. And let's do this. Go back. Now it's almost like a pink that you might even see in her skin tone. So I might even be able to just leave it right like that, you know? And if I have to, if it's too distracting when I'm finished, I can either darken this a little bit, set it back behind her a little bit more, because right now it is popping forward. Or I don't even want to lighten it because I don't want to take that circle image away. It's still there. It's still there, but I took it away for the most part. So I'm going to let that dry, and I have to make a decision as to whether I'm going to use pen or watercolor pencils, and I'll show you the pens that I'm thinking of. So I've got some options here. I can use, these are called Inktense pencils. They are water soluble and they're ink. And the thing with this is once they're dry and they're staying. You don't really have the lifting capacity like you do with a watercolor pencil. But they are very rich in pigment. I haven't decided what color I would use that if I decided to go this route. Or I can use this here, which is a Stabilo black water soluble pencil. This one. Now the trouble with this one is it sometimes can look a little messy. There's that. Or I could use this Sigma permanent ink pen. So I am going to just show you real quick so this is the Inktense. Very, very, very intense pigment. That's why they call it Inktense, because it's intense. But that wouldn't necessarily be the color, but that is the option there. And then, oh, look at that. I can't use that pen. I thought that was waterproof. So forget that. I have to find another waterproof pen, and that is that pencil, that Stabilo black pencil. That's pretty intense. So I have to go back into my box. For some reason, I thought that those were water soluble or waterproof. So I'm going to go back in my box. I'll be right back. So I went and I got my Micron pens. Archival Ink Pigma Micron. And it does say waterproof and fade proof for fine lines. So this is a size 1. So I'm going to see about that. Put that. Uh-oh, that one might need to get a new one of these. That doesn't have any ink to it. I might have to get more of these. I'm hoping not. Oh, goodness. Okay, that one's a little dry too. Shoot, I've got more, but that one's too fine. But all right, so just for testing, I just want to make sure before I go to all the trouble of doing that. Yeah, so that one is waterproof. So I can use that. Yep. I did not let the ink dry that. I didn't let it dry enough, but I can definitely use the Micron pens. So that's what I would use if I'm going to use a pen. I don't really want to use that Stabilo pencil because that's a little bit too intense. And you know what else? There's a Sharpie. I'm pretty sure the Sharpies, it says permanent, but that doesn't mean it's waterproof. So I'm just going to check that. There's the Sharpie. Let's just check that. Oh, look at that. I like the Sharpie. I'll be darned. Well, that might be what I'm going to use. The Sharpie Ultra Fine Point. I like that. I know I can use that in some of it. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to come on and say hi to kind of give you an idea about what I'm up to. Just want to see what happens when I do that. This green paint is just watercolor, so I shouldn't have any trouble at all lifting that up. I sure would hope not. Nope, that's just watercolor, so that'll lift beautifully. I can lift out all kinds of yummy shapes here. So there we go. I'm happy about that. I knew that wasn't going to give me trouble because that's just watercolor paint. But anyway, I will be back and show you more of what this is going to evolve. I am going to be adding more textures to this. It's not just going to be this drawing. I am going to be adding color to this drawing as well to integrate it in. And yeah, so anyway, I will be back and we'll see how this goes. Okay, guys? You guys have a great night. Thanks for watching. And I thank you guys so much for your patronage. It means the world to me. I cannot tell you enough. So God bless, and I will see you guys real soon. Take care, okay? Bye now. Guys, hi guys. Oh, excuse me. Welcome to the next step in this painting. This is where I've gotten so far. I know that last time I talked about not knowing what I'm going to use to outline the figure. I still don't know. I think I'm going to use a pen, either a Sharpie or this the micro pen. I did lay down some Misket, and then I applied a wash of yellow down. And actually the wash is not dry yet. I was going to add a darker yellow, but I can't do that yet because the one that I laid down is still really wet, and I don't quite understand that. I did kind of go off on a different route a little bit. I introduced blue, which I wasn't really going to do. I want to do violet still. And I was going to do violet in her dress, but what I'm going to do instead is leave her dress white. And then I'm going to change these to violet. Because now that I've got more yellow down, yellow and violet or purple are complementary colors. I was going to use the green with the pink as kind of the play on the complementary, but since I added the blue, it's kind of on the cool side now of the color chart. Like kind of like from here, I mean, if you take a look, it's kind of like this half of the color chart is what I've got going right now. All this up here. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is make it harmonious and then possibly put a spark color, a pop color Obviously, I want a pop color, but so since I have decided that I'm going to leave this dress white, I want to make sure that I lighten these pencil lines that I drew in a little bit more because I don't really want them to be that noticeable. But I think it is my center point. It is, and you know what, I might even end up changing it once it's all said and done. I might decide, no, I don't like it white, and then I could change it to something else. But I just right now, I'm just thinking I need the lightest spot to be right there. Now, I might be totally wrong. I know I'm going to have it at another place. I can't just have one big white area and nothing else. So I know I'm going to have it somewhere else. But for now, that's what I'm going to do. And once this dries a little bit more, then I can add a little bit more blue in the background and not worry about things so much as far as messing up my color scheme. I don't want to worry about that or have that kind of, I don't want to say get in the way, but yeah, I was looking at this, and just because of the fact that these are really bright, your eye is going here, here, and here, and it's kind of fighting with this. So I need to tone these down so that she stands out a little bit more. Now I am going to be adding more pattern into this. I did lay down the misket for the wheat, kind of the feeling of the wheat, the grass. So I am going to be using some colors. I probably am going to be adding more like of a gold maybe, or goldish. I did put in some blue a little bit more down in these areas right here. I'm going to actually make these darker because this is I always, in my traveling, I always like to exit in a darker spot. And it's, your eye goes to that dark spot. So I can't just have it in one spot here. So, I was going to put a little bit of darker in here somehow. I don't know, but this is where my thought process is on this. I do like that I added the figure in here. I like that a lot. But yeah, so now I went to get my favorite stamp, one of my favorites, and it's gone. I had taken it to my workshop. I had taken several of my stamps to my workshop, my favorite stamps, and lo and behold, I unpacked everything from the workshop, and my favorite polka dot stamp, big wooden stamp, is gone. And I used that in a lot of my mixed media work. And I am just right now like freaking out because I went online to see if I could order another one right away so I could use it. And I cannot find the same stamp. I even went on to the Michaels website and I can't find it there either. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I went on Amazon. I can't find one. I'm just really bummed out because, like I said, it was my favorite stamp. I used it. I guess you call it not my trademark because, kind of my trademark stamp because that stamp I used in a lot of stuff. So I am freaking out. I'm not happy about this at all. So I'm going to have to figure out what else to use. I have a stencil, but I don't want to use a stencil. I don't really want to use a stencil. kind of hard to use watercolor with a stencil. That's a little difficult. So I'll have to figure out something. But yeah, I'm really bummed out. So anyhow, this is where I'm going right now. And I was going to do a little bit more work on this to show you right now, but it's still wet. And I'm stuck. I can't do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait a little while longer till this dries so that I can come back and do some more work and take you along with me so you can see where I'm going with this. So I'm just going to wait a little longer, guys. Okay, so I'll be back when this dries, okay? I'll be right back as soon as it dries. Hi, guys. I am back. I've made a couple decisions on this piece. I am not going to leave these pink. I'm going to change this to a violet, lilac-y color. I'm going to use more. My thought process was that this was going to be, complement the green and the pink being variation of red. Green and red is complementary colors. But what it's doing is it's drawing too much attention away from her. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mute these a little bit and push them back by changing them to a purpley color instead of the pink. And so when you look at the color wheel here, I know, baby boy, mommy's busy. So I've got my greens, my violet. It's all on the cool side here. I've got a little bit of light blue, really soft light blue up here. I'm not going to do too much with blue, but I do have the yellow here. It's a complement. Well, the orange yellow is a complement of the blue violet. And then if I go to this yellow here, right there, then that is the complement to the violet. So I'm going to be playing off these two here and then the green. So that is my thought process on that. I'm going to find a pop color for sure. And Remy, stop. And so that's my thinking on that. So I am adding some nickel azo yellow to this right now. I'm just gonna add a little bit of a darker yellow just for variation of color in the yellow. I'm just gonna use this kind of as my I'm not gonna do it. I don't want this color all over. I just want to add a little bit of it, especially down in there. I don't know what's wrong with you, Remy, but you've got to be quiet so I can talk. Yeah, you have to be quiet, boy. So I'm adding this. It's a warmer yellow. And like I said, I'm going to be changing the pink to purple. So that is the yellow and the purple are the complementary colors. And we'll see. I'm just going to do this before I take the mask off, because I did put masking fluid on this. So let's see. Alright. It's been a cold day. It actually snowed today where I'm at, and that did not make me happy because I don't like cold weather anymore. I don't ski anymore. I don't really get a chance to do much as far as enjoying the outdoor sports like I used to. I used to love snow skiing, but when I got divorced, that became, I couldn't afford to do it anymore. It was just really expensive, and yeah, so I wasn't able to continue that. I always loved it. Of course, not on super cold days. I never did like it on super cold days, but I really loved doing it when, when it was a nice winter day. Always nice when it's sunny, of course. I know I used to love going with my kids and watch them skedaddle down the hill. Always loved that. And of course, I was spoiled when I was younger. My parents took us out west a couple times to ski out west, and boy, that really spoiled me. So, yeah, I haven't done that in a long time, and I always did like it, like I said. Okay, I'm going to just, let's see. See it really, let's just grab a little bit more on my brush, and actually I'm going to do this just a little bit, make it a little darker in a couple spots, not everywhere, just a couple spots. Just a couple spots. Let's see. Always. Alright, so we'll do this. Alright, and then that one. And then that one, because that one. Okay. So I'm going to, I'll do that right there too. Well, actually, no. I'm going to lift that up. Anyway, I'm kind of talking to myself, guys. Sorry about that. I'm going to lift that and that a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to be layering just a little bit. Layering textures, color. There. Alright, make that a little darker in that one right there. Just for variation. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to let that dry. And then, oops, I forgot a couple spots. Right there, there, there. Okay. Okay, we'll let that dry. And then I'll come back and I'm going to take the masking fluid off and see what we have when I do that. And then I can build on that if I want to. I'm going to have to get new water because I kind of got this water pretty dirty already. And I'm actually going to, I made the decision to leave her dress white. I'm going to make the ribbon in her dress a color. I may have to use gouache to do that in this part right here because this rice paper underneath, when I use the water, it just soaks it all up. That's kind of what happened in here with that rice paper. It's okay, but I don't really want this area to get dark. I want to leave it lighter, this dress part right here. I suppose I could let it bleed in a little bit, but I don't want that dress to have any color, so I'm going to try and keep it as white as possible. I mean, it's already not really white. It's like a light yellow, and then there's that green in there. I'm going to try and lift some of that. Just a tiny bit, not a lot. Actually, no, I might just leave it. I don't know, we'll see. I might even add like a white opaque or something on top of that just to bring it out a little bit more. But I don't want to do that if I'm going to add any opaque paint. I don't want to do that until the end. Because then if I add color on top of that, it's going to get murky. And I don't want murky. No, no, no. Okay. So I've made the decision as well to do the outline in a fine macro pen. A fine macro pen, not the Sharpie. The Sharpie is a little bit too thick, and I want the finer line. Well, this one might be the Sharpie, but I want a finer line. So I'm going to be using a micro pen, and that's what I'm going to use for her outline, and some more line making. I am going to be putting more line making in here, like drawing line in here, because I really liked the look of that when I saw graphic elements and hand-drawn elements. I really liked it. I am going to be putting texture over here. Not sure yet how. And I'm going to be adding. I know that I lost my favorite polka dot stamp. I don't know where it went. It was bigger than this one right here. They were bigger polka dots than this. This is more like a Swiss dot. And they were a lot smaller than this one. So I'm really bummed because it was the perfect one that I wanted. I do have a polka dot stencil that I might be able to use, but I really didn't want to spray again. I just really didn't want to do that. But I might just go ahead and do it and then use that instead, because I really want that size polka dot. So I'm going to be obviously adding more variations of sizes on the polka dot. And as far as adding any more rectangular shapes, I'd like to. I have a stencil that I'm going to have to use. I don't have a stamp like that. I should actually carve one for myself. Well, I don't think I do. I did make a couple handmade. I'm going to look in my box. Let's look. I got my handmade box of stencils or stamps in here that I have done over the years. Obviously, these two are not handmade, but this one is. This is one of my favorite signature stamps that I carved. This is another one that I carved that I love. I love this one. I love the pattern. This one is different. This one is the Korean word for peace. That's the Korean word for peace. I actually really like this. I don't know why. I was on a kick studying the history of Korea. My dad served in the war there, and I was watching on Netflix. They had some like what do you call those? Series, you know, Korean, like back in the 1500s, love stories, you know, a series. And I got hooked on those, even though they were in Korean. They had the English subtitles. So I did watch those. And this is another stamp that I did. See, there's another repetition of my circles. But anyway, this one is a takeoff of the stencil of the girl. I haven't used this one too much. It doesn't stamp as well as I wanted it to. But anyway, got some hand ones done in here. I love making my own because then it really becomes original, you know. When you use the store-bought ones, actually I should take this one out. This one is not a hand stamp that I made, but when you use the store-bought ones, there's some shows that want absolutely everything that you do to be original thought. And so these are the ones that I would use if I were to use and do a piece for something like that. I have a friend that she is a mixed media artist. She does really well, but she even has somebody make her collage papers for her. And that is something that I love to do. I love making my own collage papers. I'm going to show you. I absolutely love doing that. I know in my workshop, I did a demo of some of a way to make collage papers, but that one stamp, this is freezer paper. No, not freezer paper. This is the wax. This is the wax paper, deli paper, and I soaked it in color first. Got a background, and then stamped that stamp using the permanent ink. So I can tear these up or place them as they are. Here's another example, but it's not as dark. I kind of like this one because it's a little grungier. Here's another one that's got more color in the background. So if I'm doing a piece that actually has these colors in it, which this kind of does if I change that to purple, but that's a thought, right? I could rip this up and put that somewhere. But anyway, here's another example. This is the tissue paper. I added color on my palette and then laid the tissue paper down and let that dry to a point and then lifted it off the palette. And this is beautiful tissue collage paper you can use. I did that here as well with that piece. So there's so many really cool things you can do. There's another one, just adds color and texture in the background, you know, certain sections. There's all kinds of things you can do with watercolor, you guys. It's not just, I mean, it is just using your brush, but if you want to play and experiment, there's so many other ways to play, have fun. You know, that's pretty bold. I could soften that up by laying it down and then putting another color over the top if I didn't want it so drastic. And then I even have more in here. This I took a, I don't even know what this was. It might have been a rubber placemat. But these here are done with acrylic liquid ink. So I laid the liquid ink down on the palette and then laid the deli sheets over it. Actually, it was through I think it was a vinyl placemat. I used that. And then, of course, I have my same kind of collage papers. in different colors. So yeah, I love to make my own collage papers. It makes my work unique to myself. Nobody, I'm gonna have to put that away in a bigger envelope, I think, to get all these papers in there. But I mean, I could even put this in there somewhere, rip it up, and I might keep that one out. Even though this is acrylic, it's still water media, so I could get away with it. It's not watercolor or gouache, but it's water media. I'm trying to keep it more water soluble instead of having acrylic in here. But I mean, if I want to, I could, because it is a water media. But if I'm entering a watercolor show, you know, I may not be able to do that. So that's what I've got going right now. That is my thought process. This is still a little damp, so I'm going to wait on that until I lift it. And come back. Now I'm thinking about what my next step is. I know I want to add. I'm kind of wanting to bring something down right there, or I want to put something vertical, straight up and down in here somehow. So I'm wondering, I don't know if I can make a stamp, like vertical stamp, to do that. Just kind of like give the illusion of like a fence, a stamped fence. I'm kind of thinking I would like to do that in a couple spots. I like, there's a lot of movement in this, and I do like anchoring with vertical lines instead of having everything kind of askew and floating. I do like that anchor. I was thinking maybe here, a little bit there, and then maybe here, like dang, dang, dang. I'm thinking. I'm just thinking. But I'm gonna have to come up with a way to get my stamp. I know I've got a vertical stencil, but it's kind of bent up, and I'm afraid to use it because I don't want a spray to get underneath it, because it's not laying flat right now like it's supposed to. So kind of staying away from that one. I guess if I had to, I could, but I'd rather not, if you know what I mean. I'm not mocking the Brits, sorry. I love English accents. And when I was growing up, oh my gosh, I used to role play a lot and act out scenes and all that good stuff. So I'm not, by any way, I'm not mocking the Brits. I love the Brits. I've got some dear friends that are British, and love them dearly. So that's that. Okay, I'm gonna put this on pause, let it dry a little bit, then I'm gonna come back to it again, and we'll see where it goes from there. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so I started to take off some of the masking fluid. The masking, yeah. Some people call it Misket. Depends on the brand name, but for me it's just masking fluid. So I'm just removing that, and then I'm gonna make a decision about where to go next. I experimented a little bit. I did add a little bit of the gouache. I used the permanent white, Winsor Newton permanent white, because like I told you, I wanted it to stand out a little bit more. I didn't go over the entire dress, and it is drying lighter than from what it looked like, so that's a good thing. It's not super, super stark white. At least not from my angle. I don't know what it looks like on the film. I mean, I can see my screen, but that doesn't mean that how the color translate to another is gonna look like. So I'm just taking this off. I'm not gonna take this off yet right there. I want to leave that because I'm gonna paint behind it. So I'm gonna leave that so it will show up when I take it off, because right now it won't show up because I didn't do anything to that area. So I don't know what's going to happen when I take it off. It's touching this rice paper a little bit. I might not be able to get that off. Oh, maybe not. Oh, interesting. Okay, so some of the biscuit traveled into the rice paper. So it's okay right there. It's okay right there. Gotta make sure. Sometimes you have to take your fingers and go like that because you can feel where there's pieces that are still left, kind of like crumbs still on the table. You know what I mean? Like you wipe your table off after a meal, but sometimes there's still a little bit of crumbs, so we have to remove those, get those off. Well, I still feel it right there. Yep, and yep, still there. Of course, I didn't touch that area yet. Take it off there. Whoops, that one. Oh boy, that one. Well, this is going to be interesting. That is not coming off. Lesson learned, guys. Okay, I actually took a little bit of the paper off. Okay, but I still have the circle there, so I'm okay. Well, that's a bummer. So remember, don't ever put biscuit over rice paper. That won't work for you if you do that. So I probably should have known that, but I probably should have known that, not to do that. Well, that didn't do anything there because I didn't darken that area. I don't think, not much is happening there, but that's okay. I just want it subtle. I don't want it in my face, pattern in my face, so that's all right. That's okay if it's like that down there. That's okay. We got some tonal colors going on in the lower quadrant there, or portion. Okay, that is not biscuit. Okay, that's a good to know. All right. So now, okay, looks like I got the biscuit off. A little bit right there. Yep, and I'm going to leave that there too because I haven't done anything with that. And what I'm going to do back here, boy, that's going to be interesting. I don't want to darken that area too much because it's going back into the distance and things get lighter when you go back. So I don't want to make that darker, but I do want to set it back. So I'm going to have to change that tone at least. Okay, so I'm going to think about that. And I know I could make it green, even though it's a yellow wheat field. But you know what? I'm the artist, right? I have creative license. That is biscuit right there. Get that off right there. Oh, gotta go back and get that. Okay. Oh, that's the rice paper. Okay. Alright, that's the rice paper, so that stays. Okay, so now I've got that off. I like this movement. You can kind of tell that it's the windy grass. So I like that a lot. That's kind of what I wanted to achieve. So I'm happy about that. That came out like I wanted it. So that's a good thing. Absolutely a good thing. Okay, so my next step. I'm going to have to change this to purple. And I have a feeling I'm going to have to experiment on one of them. I'm going to take one of my cups. Just going to take one of my little mixing things here. And I'm going to add some dioxazine violet to that. Not a lot. I just want to see what happens. And I'm going to have everything ready in case I have to blot it up. I might have to use gouache there. This is actually gelato that I used. I don't want a lot of dark purple. I want it to be lighter in color. But I'm just going to see what happens when I put a light wash of dioxazine violet down there. Let's see what happens. I've got this. Okay. That looks pretty blue on screen here. Oh, Remy does not like the train. Let's just try it over here. See what happens. It's okay, Remy. It's just a train. So that's still reading really pink. That's really pink still. Too pink. It's not purple enough. I might just add blue. Let's see if I add blue. See what happens if I add some blue. Don't know. I could add blue to one, see what happens. That turns it blue. Well, I'm putting a little bit of wash of cobalt blue over that. Yep, and let's see. That looks blue now instead of purple. So let's just add a little more purple to that. It's darker than I wanted it to be though. You know, that's really a lot darker than I wanted it to be. Let's see. If I mix the purple, the dioxazine violet, and the cobalt blue together, what do I get? I might have to add white gouache, you guys. Now that's a pretty one. But that's darker than I wanted it. I don't want it that dark. Where's my... I have to lift some of that color off. I don't want it that dark. I wanted a lighter pastel. Okay, so you know what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to add gouache. Let's see. I didn't want to have to do that, but I'm going to have to. Let's see. Actually, this is purpley pinky. Purpley pinky. And alright, I have to add more purple to that. See, I'm mixing watercolor and gouache right here. I need more. Let's just do this. Right? That's going to be way too light. But wait, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen. Let's try that. Oh, that's muddy looking. That is really muddy looking. That's not the color I'm looking for at all. No. That's kind of dull. That's not a nice, beautiful purple. Not at all. Nope. Okay, so changing the color on this might be a bit of a challenge. I'm going to let it dry and see what happens when it dries. Maybe not. Maybe this is going to be okay. If I let a little bit of that pink show through, that might be okay. So I'm just going to do this lower right hand side. But I'm already liking the color with the green and the yellow. I'm already really liking that a lot. Yep, I'm already really liking that a lot. So that one might need a little bit more of the purple. Yeah, I like that. I really like it with the yellow. It's interesting how when you put it next to the yellow, this purple looks darker than this one. I find that color, using color and how color interacts with other colors is so fascinating. I'm a huge fan of Albrecht Dürer. No, not Dürer. Oh shoot, now I just forgot his name. Dürer is a printmaker. Oh gosh, his name begins with an A. Albers, Joseph Albers. I love his color theory and his color works. I absolutely love it. I'm a huge fan. I teach a color class. It's a really good class. If any of you are ever interested in taking that, by all means, I'm going to be offering that probably in the spring. It's an incredible class. There's so much about color that you really need to know if you're an artist. It not only sets the mood for a painting, but it really can make or break a painting too. How you use your color, what you do with it. Yep. So there's this. Like the artist Mark Rothko. He's another one that I love. And his painting is all about color. Color and, I don't know, mood, feeling. I love his work. Okay, so I like that color. I like that a lot. So it looks bluer on the screen than it does here. In person, there's a little bit more of that pinky tone coming through because of the pink underneath. On the screen, what I'm seeing, on one monitor, I have a big monitor over there. It looks a lot bluer. And on the computer monitor, it looks a little bit more purple. But in person, it's a brighter, warmer, yummy purple. I really like that. So I'm going to keep doing that. And actually, I'm going to take this here and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my board around so I'm not reaching up. I'm going to turn my board around. And now this is just a painting style, or the way to paint, of just doing things intuitively, not necessarily, you know what, I'm going to get that piece right. Oh, I need to get my glasses to do that. So I'm just laying that down very carefully. I'm laying that in. Yep, put that in there. I do like the purple. I'm glad I did that because now it's setting it back. It's not fighting. I mean, it's still a dominant shape, so it's still gonna kind of draw attention away from her, but hopefully it won't totally draw the attention away from her. And if it does, well, then I'm going to have to come up with a plan B, aren't I? Oops, let's see. Alright, so okay, I don't know how all this stuff came up, but oh goodness. Well, I have lots of windows that popped up on my screen here. Goodness gracious. Okay. So yeah. Alright. So I probably shouldn't even be using this brush, my silver brush, because you guys, gouache tears up your brushes a lot. It's pretty hard on your brushes. So I would have designated gouache brushes. I don't really have. I have some. They're more like soft acrylic brushes. But you know what? I didn't take the time or remember to grab one. So when I clean my brush, I'm going to have to be extra diligent and make sure that I really do a good job cleaning it. A really good job here. Because, alright, so I got my reading glasses on. I needed it. I needed to use them. So, here's this. I'm going to pause and continue filling in the dots because this is boring for you guys. And I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, so what I've done, I finished adding the purple. And then what I did was I came in and took my polka dot stamp here. So I'm kind of making this like abstract, I mean, how do I say this? So if this didn't have any of this fun stuff here, this would be a painting of a girl with the sky behind her, you know, the foreground of the grass in front of her. So I'm adding these elements to kind of like indicate, okay, I mean, not that I even have to. I don't have to, but I decided to add some blue there for sky. And I've got my, I think this is the brush that I did use. When you do this, you definitely want to use a flat brush, okay? You want your paint to be thicker than normal. I mean, you don't want it to be a super watery wash. So, I actually put it, hold on. So, actually I'm using a color that I have to order more of it. I don't have it. It's an opaque color. It's by American Journey and it's called Sky Blue. But I absolutely love it. And I didn't want the blue to be super dark back there, like a dark, dark, dark. So I thought the sky blue would be exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm going to put some here, but I want to put it only in a few spots. I don't want to cover, oops, I did it wrong, didn't I? Wait a minute. I have to flip myself. Okay, so I'm going to kind of paint it so I can, I don't really want to cover up that circle. So I want to avoid it if I can. So I'm taking a flat brush and I'm just skimming the surface. I don't want to get it all over in there. I just want to paint it gently on there like that. Yep. And yeah, alright. So, alright, got some paint on there. Okay, so now I'm going to take my brush, my stamp I mean, and I'm probably going to get some of it on there, but it's okay. So I'm laying in sky back there. Okay, alright, that's not bad. So, I don't want to add any more right there. That's actually really hard to line that up. I have a hard time lining it up. But I don't want a bigger piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean my brush. Yep, to clean my brush. And just take a little bit of water. Oops! That was too wet. Too wet. Alright, I'm going to wait a minute because that was really wet. And I don't want to go over those polka dots. I gotta wait. It's gotta dry a minute. Actually, I know what I'll do. I'll take this, bring some of that up onto the cloth, and then I'll go in. I'm just gonna add a little bit of water. Still too much water, still too wet. So I just want to get this effect that I got over here. I want to bring it over there. Yeah, be careful. That the original plea deal that Smollett struck with Chicago prosecutors was the final say on the matter. The court believed that no special prosecutor should have ever been appointed, and Smollett should never have stood trial for his crimes, whether he's guilty or not guilty. Meanwhile, in New York City, the trial some of that up again. Penny, that continues. Penny put a visibly unhinged homeless man, a guy by the name of Jordan Neely, who had many run-ins with police, in a chokehold after he threatened to murder multiple subway riders. Now Penny is facing manslaughter charges over the incident. Wait a minute. An expert witness called by the defense. I gotta let it dry a little bit more because I don't want to lose my polka dots. Oops. Yeah, I don't want to lose the polka dots, that's for sure. Don't want to lose them. There's a lot of paint down there. Okay, so I'm adding it here, but I have to add it one more spot. And that's what I'm trying to decide. That's what I'm trying to figure out, is where I want to put that. I don't know yet. Don't know. I was thinking of putting some in here, but I'm also aware that I don't want it to be just on the top, you know? I want it to be down here also, somewhere. And I don't want it to be a square. Nope, I don't want it to be a square. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I know there's an opportunity right here in this area. Maybe put a little bit down there, but what I'm going to have to do is when I paint it, I'm going to have to make sure I don't paint the edges so that it creates a square, because I don't want a square there. I don't really want a square anywhere, but yes. Okay. And there's a reasonable defense in this case, and it should never ever get to the jury. The jury, I think, will acquit Just kind of spread that out a little bit, like what I did up there. Still gonna wait a minute. This is blue already up here a little bit, so the fact that I'm adding a little more, it's okay. I don't have to worry about that. And I don't care that a little bit got over on that either. Nope, it doesn't bother me. So let me just dry this off real quick, get the paint off of that. Okay. Get some more blue. More sky blue on my stamp. I got my little boy Remy sleeping underneath me here. Okay, so I'm gonna, this will be the bottom. Yeah, I'm not gonna, let's see.
Greg, let's give you the first crack at the Jesse Smollett ruling. What's your take?
Let's see. So, alright. Okay. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this right here. Right in there. Oh, perfect. That's kind of what I was looking for. So I didn't paint it all the way to the edges. I just kind of painted it just a little bit, but I got what I wanted right there. And I can actually do a little bit more in here. I'll just do that. Just a little hint of it there. And there. Whoops. Okay. Alright. I don't care if it does that. Cool. And yeah, let's see. Oops, I don't want that to be that blue. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope. Now they can still go after him civilly. There's no double jeopardy in civil cases. He cost the city of Chicago. I should wait. See, the thing with watercolor is lately I just don't have the patience that I need. I need patience. It's like, where did it go? Where did my patience go? I don't have it anymore. Nope, I don't. Okay, I have to stop because I'm going to keep putzing with this and fooling around with it, and I don't want to ruin it, so I'm just going to let these dry, and then I'm going to go back and lighten them up with water. So I do have to get rid of this square look right here. That's way too square. I might take a little bit and scrub it out. Not sure. But, okay, I'm glad that turned out that way. I like that. Yep. Alright, guys. I'll be back. And then I'm going to do another episode because this one's long already. And I don't want this to be so long that you guys don't enjoy watching it. And I don't want you guys to get bored. So I'll come back with another video. Another progress video. Okay, guys? Alright. You guys have a great night. God bless you all. And thank you so much for your support. I couldn't do it without ya. Thanks, guys. God bless. So, as you can tell, I did an ink outline of the figure, and I outlined the wheatgrass. I started adding a little bit of more flesh tone to her, but I have to wait. I'm gonna just add a little bit of this. I am using white gouache over this just so I can bring out the, I don't want to do too much because I still want to have it a little bit, you know, not transparent, but where you can still see the color and rice paper underneath. I don't want it to be super thick to look chalky or anything like that, but I do want it to, I want to pull out the, I just want to make it stand out just a little bit more without, I used the, I lost my train of thought, but I used my Micron pen. I used the number 5 to outline. I like that thickness the best. I tried all of them. Unfortunately, a lot of them were dried up. I was really bummed about that. I haven't used them in a long time, so that explains it. I mean, you don't, I just didn't really pay too much attention to it. Now I had a couple thoughts too. Just wanted to share before I make a decision. I don't know if I'm going to do it because I don't want to do that. I don't know if I'm going to do this or not, but I said in a, maybe I said it in a previous video, but I want to have some vertical lines, okay, going straight up and down instead of things being askew and round. And I had a thought. I kind of want to create just a couple pieces of vertical up and down to kind of create the illusion of a fence. I'm going to create it with tissue collage paper. I'm going to make it, and then I'll place it down and see if it's what I want or not. I'm probably going to incorporate the brown mixture that I mixed for her hair, even though I really don't want brown, but I just feel like this color has to be repeated somewhere else. I just can't leave it, you know, I don't know. I'm struggling with that. Didn't want to paint her hair purple or anything like that. I wanted it to be, you know, somewhat normal, I guess is the word. Not normal, but more realistic, I guess. So I'm kind of struggling with what I'm gonna do about that. I'm just gonna lay a little bit more of this down, and I was gonna do more of the, I was gonna use this stamp somewhere, but I'm thinking it's too many polka dots. So that's why I'm thinking, I was gonna make actually the fence posts out of that. And then I thought, well, that's just kind of overdoing it with the dots. So I might just make straight lines. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. I'm really not wanting to do a lot of brown, but I did mix the brown using the Hooker's Green dark that I did here, just to keep it kind of the same. So yeah, I did that. And I do have to come in and make this area a little bit darker somehow. Just a little bit, just to set her bring her forward. Even though this is not a realistic painting, for some reason my brain is trying to play on both. And I also realize this is too dark right now. Way too dark. So I'm trying to figure out how to tackle that. I don't know how to tackle that aside from adding just more white gouache over it. So I don't know, I got a lot to think about. I for sure have a lot to think about. And but anyway, that's where I'm at right now, and I don't know how this is gonna end up. I really don't. I'm just kind of playing and experimenting and seeing what happens when I do different things. I'm gonna clean this one. This one is just, I can just do that right there, get that out of the way. I love these stacking cups. They're just, they come in handy. They really do. But anyway, guys, I have to take care of this too. I don't want that hard edge right there. And there's going to have to be something happening in here. Not busy, but definitely something. I may end up putting masking fluid over these circles so that I can do a wash in here. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So, anyway, that's where I'm at. And I don't know, just wanted to check in and just say hi. And again, thank you for all your support on Patreon. So, you guys, take care, and I'll be back. Hello, everybody. I am excited to share this little video with you today because this is, I want to show you a way that I add patterns, interest, texture to my paintings. It's by using stamps. I mean, I have used stamps and stencils throughout my adventure, my journey using with mixed media and watercolor. And I really wanted to go into it today to show you how many cool things that you can do using stamps. And you can, and the original stamp making is absolutely the best, because most fine art competitions want you to create your own textures, your own collage papers. You know, they don't want commercially purchased. Hello, everybody. It's Julia's Palette Studio, back at you guys. I've got some interesting information that I wanted to share with you. I don't know about you, but when I'm painting, especially with mixed media and watercolor, I always love the opportunity to create different textures and patterns, different areas of interest using stamps. Now, you might say stamps with watercolor. Obviously, you can use, and it's, you know, stamps with mixed media has been used for a long time, but you can also use it in watercolor in many interesting ways. So what I wanted to show you today was a way for you as an artist and creator to make your own stamps to personalize your piece. Now, if you're serious and you want to start entering competitions, then what you're going to need to start thinking about is original content. And what I mean by this is when you are applying for juried shows and sometimes even gallery exhibitions, everything in your work has to be original content. Meaning, you thought about it first, it was original thought first, the execution of it was all original, and then last but not least, any material that you use in your work also has to be original content. So this is an interesting way for you to really make your own mark on your work. And you can do this by creating your own stencils, and stamps, but this video is about the stamps. And I'm going to show you a simple way to create textures and patterns with all of this new fun information. Now this painting right here, this is a basically water media. It's all watercolor with a little gouache and then the addition of some rice paper right here, okay? Now obviously the rice paper was not original content, but everything else in this painting, well, not everything. Okay, let me step back a minute. This piece here was a stamp that I purchased. This texture and this texture and this texture. So if I was entering a show and it said everything has to be original content, blah, I would not be able to enter this piece. This is wood texture. I made the wood posts out of tissue paper using